Hey, can you tell me about MySight?
Yeah, so MySight is a lens for the snap spectacles designed to support people with PTSD and anxiety. We use a snap cloud powered by Superbase to store voice memos. Our users can put on the snap spectacles to to show their experiences into words that they can later reference in therapy. They can also have tailored features that can clean up mental health triggers from their environment. We also implemented a short bubble popping game based off the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 coping strategy. It will help users feel grounded in their environment more.
Hey Ria, so as a potential consumer of this lens, how do you see MySight being useful?
I definitely see it as a great aid in addition to therapy sessions. For example, there's the logger, so I can actually go back and see what's going on with my life because PTSD can sometimes affect memory as well. But I think it's especially useful because it gives me a chance to really push my boundaries and try and work through triggers without just completely subjecting myself to them. And it gives me control in a situation where it can sometimes feel like I have none.
Nehemiah, what did you learn during your research for the project?
Hmm. One thing that really stuck out to me was the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 coping strategy. It was actually presented by the University of Rochester Medical Center. And it's pretty much five things you can see, four things you can touch, three things you can hear, two things you can smell, and one thing that you can taste. And what it does is it really gets people's minds off of what they're being anxious about because they have to stop and pause and think, wait, hold up. What are four things that I can touch? What are five things that I can see? And on top of that, I actually did not know that people already use VR for exposure therapy. And with that knowledge, we're able to almost use that and couple it in the process of people healing and people growing, because our spectacles are not supposed to be a permanent solution, but more of like a temporary tool as people recover, because avoiding your triggers will not fix the mistake, but choosing when you do have the triggers will be able to help. They get to choose when they get to have exposure therapy and when they get triggered and when they might have some sort of episode or side effect. So allowing them to have that type of control, I think, will completely change their life. So, Olivia, what do you think about the project and what was your goal when making it?
So I think this style of AR experience can be used in a lot of different ways. And so that's the kind of energy I think as a team we tried to maintain throughout development was just like making a generalizable but useful experience. So for this hackathon, we kind of focused in on PTSD and kind of trying to deal with specific triggers and create tools that can help people deal with specific triggers. But in a lot of ways, it can extend to other types of mental health conditions. As somebody with anxiety, when we first came up with the idea to have coping mechanisms integrated into the experience, I thought that would be really useful for people who maybe have panic attacks or really struggle with anxiety in like social environments and things like that, just to like have a very grounded experience. So I would say, yeah, my goal was just to like make something extensible and useful to like the general public.
What did you contribute?
What did I contribute? I think initially I was very focused on the Supabase integration, just trying to like get a feel for Snap Cloud, um, which I feel like that was pretty successful. I feel like we did a lot of the things that we initially set out to do. I also made the bubble popping animations. It's a little interesting. As a Unity dev that has done a lot of work in Quest development in the past, it's been kind of interesting working in Lens Studio. But it was kind of cool to have like a little piece of our AR project that is a tool also be like kind of gamified. So yeah, I would say mainly just like the Snap Cloud integration and the coping mechanism implementation.
And is there anything that you would like to add in the future?
I would just say more robust, like trigger accommodations. We talked about censoring loud noises at one point, or like auto triggering coping mechanisms for loud noises. I think stuff like that, like the auto trigger mechanism, providing live tools that people can just kind of like have the glasses on and have those things at the ready on the go would be like the best improvement that we could make to this sort of, or this style of app, I should say.
So Nate, what did you do and where is this project going?
Throughout the course of this project, I trained an AI model to detect two very common triggers of PTSD, guns and dogs. While I was able to get the model running, I was not able to get running at a full frame rate on the Snap spectacles that would utilize their display. Going on with this project, I want to optimize the model further to where it can run on the spectacles in real time, enabling it for real world usage. After we've achieved that, I'd like to make it to where we can adjust the frequency that it triggers so that the user can adapt it to their current state and progression in recovering from anxiety and PTSD. After this hackathon, I think the project can be developed further for both research and real world use cases where it can be a helping aid for people with PTSD and anxiety.